Welcome, friends, to this course on understanding episodist drama. We are in week 8, and this is going to be lecture number 3. Today, we'll discuss John Fosse's play, The Guitar Man. The Guitar Man is a play by John Fosse, originally written in 1999. It follows the story of a nameless, wandering musician whose thoughts and reflections form the narrative. The play is a monologue that showcases Fosse's characteristic minimalist style and his ability to delve into the inner emotional worlds of his characters. When the play starts, a middle aged man enters into an empty bar and he starts singing and reflecting about his life. The entire play is dramatization of what this guitar man has to tell to the audience in that empty bar. In the opening scene, a middle-aged man in an old overcoat comes walking slowly in. He sways as he walks. His hair is wet and uncombed. On his hands, he has grey woolen gloves without fingers. He carries a worn-out guitar case. He brushes his free hand over his hair, looks around. And then the man says, "Oh, well, inside at last. It is cold, terribly cold, but it is warm here. Good and warm. Here it is good and warm, but for me, I guess it is always the same. If only it does not get too cold because it is not good." Like the 3 characters in the play, someone is going to come. This character is also nameless, anonymous, without any identity. Like there is a world outside and the world inside that of a room. Here also we have the world outside from where this man is coming, and of course the world inside, the empty bar where the man has entered. The outside world is cold, symbolizing threat, menace, and the inside world is warm and good. However, the life of this guitar man is monotonous and boring. He relives the same life day after day, again and again. In his monologue, he highlights the monotony of his life, which is a key feature of all major episodist works. The guitar man says, and I quote, "For me, everything goes the same way, day out and day in. I stand there in my subway and play my guitar, sing my songs, the same songs, over and over again, and people, they walk past me all day long. People walk past me, some walk in towards me, past me the whole day. People walk past me. In my subway, they all walk by. They walk past me the whole time while I stand there playing. People come towards me. People walk away from me. Every single day they walk past. And I sing for them every single day. And they usually bow their heads down when they walk past me. It is as if they are ashamed about always having to walk past me and hear me sing. And now in the winter, they have to see me standing there freezing and strumming chord after chord on my guitar and singing the same songs day after day." So day after day, this guitar man repeats his life, repeats his performance like all of us. Day after day, we do the same thing. What we have done yesterday, we are doing today, and we will be doing it tomorrow as well. Repetition is the fundamental fact of human life. Not only the life of this guitar man is repetitive and cyclical. Life of other people who walk past him, their lives are equally repetitive and futile. Every day while the guitar man is singing, they walk past. Some of them look at him, but most of them they don't look at. Why? Because they are ashamed that they are walking by that guitarist and not giving him anything. You must imagine how people walk in India while beggars are around. Most of us don't want to look into the eyes of the beggar, because if we look into the eyes of the beggar and we don't give anything, we feel ashamed of ourselves. So it's not that only beggar is ashamed of what he is doing, we are also equally ashamed of ourselves as an individual, as a society, that we have failed to create a society where everyone is happy. Although the guitarist is not a beggar, he is only a street singer, yet his continuous singing on the roadside, where he sings even in the days of freezing cold, it generates a sense of shame in the eyes of the people. You might have also noticed that there are certain words which have been repeated again and again, again and again. This repetition of the words and phrases corresponds to Fosse's minimalist style and absurdist undertones. The guitar man further informs, while they as usual walk past me, come towards me, walk away from me, and they are ashamed when they walk past me, because the ones who walk past me every single day, they almost never give me any money, only if they. And is it me they are ashamed of, or they are ashamed of themselves? Why are they ashamed like that? In long lines they walk past me every single day, and they hear me sing, men, women, children, old folks, while I stand. At my feet, my guitar case stands open, and some of them drop some coins down into my guitar case, but most of them don't. Now, why do some people drop some coins in the guitar case of the guitar man, and while most of the people don't drop? Of course, the question here is related to the question of empathy in human heart. Human beings are mostly apathic. They don't have empathy for feeling the pain of others. Despite not having empathy, human beings also have the sense of guilt or remorse. And because of this sense of guilt and remorse, they experience shame. Shame and guilt are subtle yet pervasive themes that underpin the guitar man's monologue and emotional state. His solitary lifestyle and reliance on music as both livelihood and solace might leave him feeling like an outsider or failure in a society that values stability and conventional success. The act of playing the guitar in public spaces, though a form of expression, might also expose him to judgment or pity, further fueling his sense of shame. Guitar man's shame appears to be existential in nature. It reflects a deep awareness of his vulnerability, insignificance, and inability to meet the expectation he or others might have had for his life. The guitar man clearly says that once upon a time he loved music. Once upon a time he sang songs out of his passion, but no more. Now he sings songs only for money. And he says he sings songs not only for those who hear, but also for those who don't hear. You can easily imagine a situation while seeing a musical performance in any public space. For example, if you have attended a wedding, you would remember that while the wedding is going on, people are eating food, there is a man who is singing his song with his or her troupe. Are people listening to him? Are all people listening to him? You can easily deduce that there are only few who are interested in the music of the man. Most of the people are busy in their own conversations. Don't you think that it is an insult to that musician? Don't you think while someone is performing and we are paying no heed to what he is performing, it amounts to insult and humiliation? But this is what human life is all about. If you speak, some people will hear you. but most of the people won't hear you. You have to bear the brunt of this humiliation like the guitar man does in the play The Guitar Man. Guitar man further says, but somehow it sounds so important, so it sounds almost beautiful. Not a word is true in a song lyric like that, and so I am a street musician, street singer, they say. But anyway, it was my mother calling me, the man with the guitar, because when I was young, I guess, I was always playing the guitar. I played before I went to school, I played after. The guitar man says that the name the guitar man he has got for himself is a euphemism. In fact, he is not respected like other musicians or artists. He is considered to be a street singer. It was his mother who used to call him in his childhood that he was a guitar man. Guitar man because he would play guitar all the time, in the morning, in the afternoon, before school, after school, whenever he felt like, whenever he had time, he would play his guitar. The words here remind the guitar man of his mother, who loved him, who cared for him, who did not bother whether the guitar man is successful or unsuccessful. The mother was not governed by the worldly definitions of success or failure. Of course, in our eyes and in the eyes of the audience, this guitar man is a failure. But is the guitar man truly a failure? Don't you think so? Societal parameters of success and failure are wrong, are often incorrect. They impose so many restrictions upon man that under the weight of those expectations, man starts suffering. Man feels burdened. The guitar man does not consider himself to be a great artist. He calls himself a lousy singer. He says, and I am a still lousier singer. And the kids shout at me. Guitar man rattles like a can. They shout, go back home, where you come from. Go on then. That's how they shout at me. The kids do. And in the winter, it can be they throw snowballs at me. They throw snowballs, I guess both at me and at my guitar. And they shout at me, and it can be too that they try to steal my money from me. He says, I never got to be any big time musician, and I never managed to write my own songs. I just play and sing other people's songs. And I stand in subway and play the guitar, and I sing with the voice I have got. The conversation highlights the existential anxiety of the guitar man. The guitar man is no famous artist. In fact, he does not compose his songs. He does not sing his own songs. He sings the songs of others. What Fosse is indicating? Guitar represents every man. All human beings sing others' songs. Do you think we do something original in our life? Or do you think we are repeating what others have instructed us to do? Don't you think so, that our lives are the songs of others? Perhaps this is which is being indicated by John Fosse through the guitar man. The guitar man is jeered. The guitar man is humiliated. Even the kids don't like the performance of the guitar man. They throw snowballs at him. Of course, the children might appear innocent to us. Yet, we have to understand that in our lives, we all are jeered at, humiliated and insulted like the guitar man is usually insulted in the subway where he plays his guitar and sings the song. However, the day he enters the bar is an auspicious day. Someone has taken pity on him and has given him 3 pounds. The guitar man happily notes, and today there was one man who gave me 3 pounds. Yes, that happens too. So it does. And he has walked past me every single day for many years without giving me a penny. Never before did he give me a single penny. But today he stopped and stood there staring at me with round bright eyes. I was there when my old lady was burned, he said. I nodded. I saw my old lady put into the oven, he said, and he nodded to me, right in, he said, and flung his arm around. Right into the oven with her, he said, and out came some ashes. That's all that is the left of my old lady and of her life, he said, and he flung his arms around. The guitar man informs that this man had showed pity on him because today he has burned his old wife. This man who took pity on the guitar man today did not pity him in the past. He would always walk with his wife every day, even without noticing the guitar man. Then why does he show pity today? Because he is as sad as the guitar man was. Once this man becomes sadder, he realizes that there is suffering in the world, there is pain in the world. He shares a deeper bond with the guitar man now because they have become one, both are equally suffering. Fosse suggests that human empathy can be aroused only in moments of crisis. Unless we suffer, we cannot understand the pain of others. We cannot keep ourselves into the shoes of others because by nature, human beings are selfish and self-centered. Mostly, we remain lost in our own world, not bothered about what is happening to others, like every man and woman walking past the guitar man even without noticing him. The guitar man tries to rationalize his pity and says, "That's all," the man said, "and I have heard you singing for so many years. You can have some money," he said, and then he pulled out his money and gave me 3 pounds. No more than that and not less either. 3 pounds, neither more nor less. I have burnt my old lady up today, and afterwards I had to have something to drink. That's why I'm a bit drunk," the man said. And I nodded and I started one more song and I saw the man walk along my subway. Yes, that's how it is. That's how a life is. Maybe he came to this town one time because of his wife and he stayed here because of her, and now his wife is gone. Now she has turned to ashes. Because of this encounter of the guitar man with the guitar man reflects on the nature of life, nature of existence. Like the man might have come to this town and because he loved his wife and together they happily lived in that town. The guitar man who was a foreigner has also come to this town. He had a wife and a son with whom he is now separated. At the moment when the play is taking place, he has no connection with his wife or with his son. He has become an old homeless tramp. Perhaps Fosse is trying to indicate that human lives on this earth are similar to the life of the guitarist. Although for a while we have illusions that we have people around us whom we love, it may be our wife, our husband, our children, our father, our mother, but a day would come when all of them would be gone. They would disappear somewhere, and if I use the Satrian word, they would become absent. Fosse says, a day would come when our lives turn into ashes, and thereafter nothing is left. How would one live when there is no one around? How would one live if our loved ones are lost? We would live like the guitar man and the man who had just burnt his wife, burnt her like something burns in an oven, of which nothing remains but ashes. Of course, the guitar man is conscious that time is passing, time is moving slowly, and there is no return. Guitar man self-reflexively says, "Yes, sir, I guess I'm mostly an old man and definitely not a youngster. There is time for everything, a time for being together, a time for being alone, a time for living, a time for giving up. And sometime a man has got to give up, everything. Can't just go on. A man must begin, a man must give up." And he begins his singing again. "I am no more than you see, and I know some songs, but not so many. Most that I knew I have forgotten. I am no more than you see. I am just what you can see. I am just slow movements. I am just wind and rain. I am just deep despair. And he breaks off, stops singing. The guitar man here is reflecting upon the passing of time and the arrival of the old age and death. The guitar man says, when we are young, we are surrounded by people we love. We are surrounded by people who love us. But when we become old, we become mostly lonely. There is no one to whom we can talk. There is no one with whom we can share our happiness. John Fosse is suggesting that human existence is essentially marked by loneliness. And that's why it is important for all human beings to learn the value of solitude. Because if we do not know how to be happy while we are alone, if we try to search for happiness in being with someone, we are bound to suffer. Like we saw in the play, Someone is Going to Come, where the man and the woman suffer although they have left the world and they are together. The guitar man here compares himself to the wind, to the rain, and he says, I am in deep despair. Why is this guitar man in despair? Is his despair caused by desertion of the people he loved? Or is this despair existential desperation echoing the Sartrean ideas or the philosophical insights of Kierkegaard and Schopenhauer? The guitar man suggests that despair exists because of our immersion into the world in which we are living. We are unable to inculcate a sense of detachment, which is essential for human awakening. Renunciation becomes a key. Unless human beings know that this is the time to accumulate and this is the time to renounce, they cannot be happy. In the play, we also hear about the guitar man's wife and the son, of course, in the form of a recollection. The guitar man says, she went to work every single day. She came home from work every single day. I was there at home with our son. I sat there, I guess, with my guitar. She went, she came, she went, she came. She went to work every single day and then came home to me and my guitar and to our son. She is a failed artist. That's how it is. But I guess they are needed, they too. If somebody is going to succeed, somebody has to fail too. I guess that's how it is. Maybe that's how it is. And I think my son has started to feel embarrassed over having me as his father. Think of having a father who just stands there in his subway and plays on his guitar. The guitar man's wife wanted to be a painter, although she was not a good painter as far as the report of the guitar man suggests. When she could not become a successful painter, she became a teacher. She would go from her home to her place of work and she would come back. Next day, she would go and come back. In the eyes of guitar man, she is a failed artist. However, the guitar man is not ironical and satirical when he calls her the failed artist, because he realizes that people who fail are also as those who have been successful. Very rightly and philosophically, the guitar man says, if somebody has to succeed, certainly somebody has to fail. And if the society judges a person on the basis of his material wealth or temporal power that a person has accumulated, that is not a right judgment. However, the guitar man was deserted by his wife as well as his son. His son perhaps left him because he thought his father was doing something shameful. He was singing in the street. How could his son reconcile himself with the fate of having a tramp-like father, having a vagrant father who was merely singing in the street and performing art like beggars. This man has had so many experiences, and on that basis of those experiences, he has realized some profound truths of life. One of them is as follows. He says, I have traveled round the lands of the world and sought a place to be. I have traveled round in the others' tracks to many lands on earth. I have sought people and peace in many lands and towns. I have sought friendship, shelter, and rest in many lands and worlds. Now I am tired and long for an unknown place to be. There I cannot get a little peace in my heart, a life to bear. I move my foot, I sing my song, I open my window, I see my sorrow, I see your sorrow. I see we have to go away to an unknown town. I see we have to travel off to an eternal town. As you can see, this truth is the ultimate realization of the inevitability of death. The guitar man suggests that death is inescapable. Finally, every man has to travel to some unknown town from where there is no return. And of course, that town is eternal town. There is no death in that town because it is the town of death itself. After his suffering, after his humiliation, the guitar man has realized this profound truth. He can see his own suffering. He can see the suffering of others, and therefore the guitar man is able to form an empathetic bond with other human beings. His songs are songs of sorrows, your sorrows and my sorrows, and of course his sorrows as well. Since his time on earth is about to be over, he says, and soon then I will have to travel off. I am traveling now to another place where you don't need money anymore. I pray to my God and know He will give me His eternal rest. I pray to you, God, come, take my hand and take me to your border. I pray to you, God, let me stay there in your great mercy. Let me stay there so heavy and free in your great movement. Let me stay there the way I once was, a nothing filled with something. Let me become nothing and let that song be heard. Although the guitar man is praying to God, yet his prayer is prayer for nothingness. He does not want anything from God. He does not want to be something from God. What he wants nothingness. He prays to God and says, let me be nothing, let my song be heard. Whether his prayer will be heard or not, whether God will come and redeem him or not, that is of course not suggested by Fosse. The condition of the guitar man in the play The Guitar Man is similar to Vladimir and Estragon, who are waiting for their redemption in the play Waiting for Godot. The play also has echoes of Beckett's Krapp's Last Tape. Like Krapp, the guitar man is also reminiscing about his life, remembering the people he has loved, the people he has lived with, the people he has seen and observed as strangers in the subway. However, his realization is deeper and profounder than Krapp. But this realization is not without this sense of futility and failure. He says, I am a failed attempt made once at a better life. I am a failed idea filled with my own strange sorrow. I was a man with a guitar who froze and sang in his long drawn night. I am a man and all I have left is not worth remembering. And I guess I am a language nobody else understands. And why should anybody else have to understand the language perhaps I had to be? The guitar man calls himself a failed artist, a failed idea. However, the guitar man is not unhappy about it. He is not unhappy that other people have not understood him, that other people have not appreciated his art, admired his music. He calls himself a language whom nobody has understood. Don't you think so? All of us die with this desire that there must be someone who can understand me. However, you will be realizing from your own experience that there is no one in this world who can understand you. Even we ourselves don't understand each other. And if we ourselves cannot understand ourselves, how can someone else understand us? Therefore, our incomprehensibility becomes a permanent feature of our lives. We remain a world whom nobody has understood and nobody can understand. The play ends with the guitar man breaking the chords of his guitar. He decides that he would leave his guitar there in the bar as he does not require it anymore. He says, "What will I do with this? I wonder. I don't have a guitar anymore. So I guess I don't need a guitar case anymore either. But this is a fine guitar case. Old and fine, maybe I should." And then he says, "No, I don't need it." He walks around a little and says, "No, what would I do with a guitar case when I don't have a guitar? Everything has its time, a guitar case too, that is right." John Fosse is very perceptively suggesting that human life is nothing but a guitar case without guitar. There is no greater meaning of our life. There is no greater purpose of our life. We are just born, we are just living, and suddenly one day we would just die. Neither life is meaningful nor death. And when we would die, we would not require anything from this world. Whatever we accumulate in the world in which we are living, that would remain here on this world. We would leave everything and we would depart like the guitar man does in the play. He had come with a guitar and with the guitar case, but he goes away without the guitar and without the guitar case. However, by the end, the guitar man has realized that he does not need the guitar, and that's why the guitar man is happier. This realization is an absurdist realization. The realization of the absurdity of life, of the futility of life, of the meaninglessness of life. The guitar man is a deeply introspective figure. His character encapsulates themes of solitude, existential reflection, artistic struggle, and emotional vulnerability. The guitar man lives a transient, nomadic existence, drifting from place to place with his guitar as his only companion. His solitude is both self-imposed and reflective of his estrangement from society and human connection. He reflects on his past with a mix of nostalgia and pain, hinting at unresolved relationships or missed opportunities. The guitar man's monologue delves into existential questions about purpose, identity, and the nature of human existence. Music is central to guitar man's identity, serving as both his livelihood and his emotional outlet. His guitar is more than an instrument. It symbolizes his connection to the world and his struggle to communicate his inner turmoil. At the end of the play, while the guitar man perseveres in his wandering life, there is a sense of stoic resignation in his tone. His monologue suggests that he has accepted his fate as an outsider, even as he yearns for a sense of belonging. So what this play is all about? This play is about the guitar man, and the guitar man represents every man, you, me, and all other human beings. This play is about loneliness of the guitar man and all of us. Like several other plays of John Fosse and other absurdist playwrights, it also explores the meaning of the world in a meaningless universe. The play also uses memory and recollection to arrive at some profounder truths of human life. On the basis of two plays that we have read so far, let us discuss major features of John Fosse as a playwright. John Fosse was awarded Nobel Prize for Literature because he tried to say the unsayable in his minimalist style. You would recall from your reading of both the plays that the stage in John Fosse's theatre is sparse. There is not much that you require. Fosse's plays use simple, everyday language stripped of excessive detail. The dialogues often contain short sentences and frequent repetitions. These repetitions of words or phrases mirror the rhythms of thought and everyday speech. Much is left unsaid in Fosse's dialogue, and these spaces or silences between words add to the subtext and emotional weight of the speech. Most of the plays by Fosse are explorations of existential themes about the futility of life, about the fragility of human relationships, about the inevitability of death and passage of time. Here, John Fosse shares so many tendencies with other major absurdist playwrights. However, the most remarkable feature of John Fosse as a playwright is his poetic quality. John Fosse blurs the boundary between prose, poetry, and drama. While reading the two plays that we discussed, you might have noticed that the dialogues used by Fosse are lyrical and poetic. The poetic language that John Fosse uses invokes the complexities of human emotions. There are words which are symbolic, there are words which are allegorical, there are words which are metaphoric, and they carry profounder truths of human life. Although Fosse is conscious that truth of life can never be expressed in words, it has to be realized from deep within, like the guitar man has realized in the play The Guitar Man. Fosse's plays are also unconventional and anti-art. In most of his plays, you will not find out any conventional plot with a proper beginning, middle, and end. In fact, like the plays of Beckett, nothing much happens on the stage. There is not much physical action. Mostly what we read or what we hear when we are in theatre is the poetic, lyrical dialogue that invites us to reflect upon the deeper philosophical questions of human life and existence. Themes that Fosse explores in his plays are universal, and this universality will surely grant, and this universality will surely make Fosse a great dramatist. That's all for today. We'll meet in our next class. Thank you very much.